Hi everyone, my name is Memo, this is my channel Houseplanty Goodness, and welcome to the place where I talk about my passion, which is houseplants. I kind of tend to geek out a bit more. I'll talk about some tips and tricks about what I find works well in my situation with my houseplants, and hopefully that will be useful to some of you out there. As a new YouTube content creator, I do find it really useful if you can let me know if you like this video by dropping a like down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, I try to upload 2 to 3 times a week. Do hit that subscribe button down below. And yeah, let's dive into it, shall we? So, backed by popular demand, a lot of people seem to be enjoying one of the first videos that I did, which was on the care of my Burle Marx Variegated philodendron. So I thought I'd talk a bit more about this because obviously there's a lot of you out there that are looking for information like this. Maybe there's not an awful lot of information on the internet, but I just wanted to talk a bit more about it now that I've also tried it in a different condition. So previously this plant was in my plant room. It was getting between 60, 70, maybe 80% humidity, especially in the summer. It was also in a brighter location, so it was slightly pulled back. It had bright indirect light from a south-facing window, so it grew at an exorbitant rate. It was very, very fast growth. But I have since moved it out purely because my plant room is just getting a bit overpopulated at the moment. So I've moved it out into my living room / dining room area. It's now close to a west-facing window, but it's not right inside of a west-facing window. So it's getting a bit less bright indirect light. However, it is still growing. It's growing at a slightly slower rate, but as with most philodendron Burle Marx Variegated, and I can only talk because I've got the one in my care, it's exceptionally fast as a grower. Even now that it's slowed down, it's probably still faster than a lot of my other philodendrons. So that's something to bear in mind if you're looking about getting this plant, or if you've just got this plant. It does grow super fast. Now, I will say something else here, because when I first got this, a lot of people were kind of reaching out to me and giving me some of their experiences with the plant. I bought it from the amazing Kaylee Ellen and the Rare Plant Shop. I'll link her channel down below in case you haven't stumbled across her, but if you're, if you're into houseplants and some of the rarer houseplants, you probably have, but I'll link it down below just in case. I got this from the Rare Plant Shop probably just over a year ago now. And I have to be honest, like, it came in beautifully packaged. It was completely fine. It was the middle of, it was probably around a similar time to now, so kind of January, February last year. And it was cold. I think there might have been some snow at that point. It came with the heat pack. It came perfectly packaged. It was in a really, really good condition. It had a decent level of variegation on the bottom leaves. It was a good price for it as well back then, because you couldn't find it as easily as you can now, and you can't find it that easily at the moment, at least not in the EU and the UK, but probably a bit easier than you probably could a year ago. And I think Kaylee Ellen and the Rare Plant Shop probably have a new batch of these that might be getting released soon. As far as I remember, I think I saw a video recently from on her channel saying some of these are going to be released soon. But it did take a while for it to get going, because everybody was saying, oh, it's a super fast growing, and it took a while to get growing. And I just wanted to talk about that for a moment, because people would get stressed out and go, oh, what's wrong with my plant? And try to then maybe blame the sellers and things like that. No, it generally is just a case of it's wintertime, it's cold, the plant might be in a bit of shock when it's been traveling anyway at the best of times. And even with the best care, the best packaging, heat packs in the winter, it can just delay the plant from kind of like really kicking back in. The roots were completely healthy, the plant was completely healthy, and you know what? 4 or 5 months down the line, when it was starting to get a bit warmer and a bit more humid in the conditions that I had it at that point, which was in a previous property, it then grew like crazy. So don't worry about it too much. The other thing that I want to also talk about this is, you can see, and this is true for a lot of variegated plants, you can see this leaf is a much smaller leaf, but it's got a huge level of variegation on it. This leaf is a much larger leaf, but it's got more speckled variegation on it. It kind of makes sense, don't you think? Because the greener the leaf is, the more it can photosynthesize. So the larger the plant wants it to be, because essentially it can then harness more of that light, especially if parts of the plant are very, very highly variegated. Because remember, with variegated parts, they're not photosynthesizing. The only parts of the leaves that are photosynthesizing are the green parts, and that's how the plant gets its energy. So it would make sense that it would want to maximize the green as much as possible, which is also why with some plants, This one I think is not one of the ones that will revert quite easily, and if it does, you can always chop it and propagate it, and then should start pushing out variegated leaves again. But as with most plants, if I see that some leaves are a bit variegated but nowhere near as much as I would like them to be, I still leave them on there, and as long as I'm not seeing the plant fully reverting back to green, I will leave them on there, because essentially they're still providing energy for the plant, and the genetics of the variegation is still there. As long as you can see that there's still some more heavily variegated section within leaves that are coming up at the top, there is nothing to worry about at that point. I'd say leave it on there, because it's helping the plant grow and helping the plant grow well and faster potentially, because it's more efficient at photosynthesis because of the green parts of the leaves. And I think that's pretty much all I wanted to kind of talk about today, is just about how not to worry about the variegation, not to worry if it's a slow starter at the beginning, especially if you're purchasing it in the northern hemisphere in the winter months where it's colder. But yeah, if you want to know a bit more about how I care for this plant, not an awful lot has changed in terms of care. So you can check out my other video on my channel for the care of that one. But yeah, I'd be interested to know, do you have the same plant? How do you care for it? Is there anything that you've noticed about its growth pattern, about the variegation levels? Let me know in the comments down below, and let's have that conversation. But yeah, in the meantime, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and hopefully I shall see you here soon. Thanks. Bye.